What is going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Talking some baseball. We got 7 games on the slate today. Some early baseball going on as well, so sweating that out. Talking about the main slate. Got NBA tonight. Got PGA tomorrow. It's a great time to be a sports fan. Great time to head over to Run Pure Sports. Use the promo code Mangone 15% off. Steve is in for DC today. Steve, you're also on the playbook, so you dove in to this slate already. Tell the people a little bit about, most people probably in here know what the playbook consists of, but if there is someone out there that isn't a member that doesn't know what a playbook is, explain that to them. Tell what are your initial thoughts on this slate?
Yeah, so the playbook is something that we do each day for every, at least for baseball, every 4+ game slate. Basically outlines our top pitching options, has our projections that Captain does. It has the K props, and then it dives into thoughts on each of the pitching options. So there's notes on each guy, why they're in the pool, if we're going to be higher or lower on them, reasons why, and then the top hitting options as well. So it's position by position, and then at the bottom there's an overall slate summary where it kind of talks about just overall thoughts on the slate, favorite stacks, weather concerns, stuff like that. So it's a great starting point for any slate, really, to see who's in play. Kind of, it's especially good for those larger slates like last night to kind of narrow down. When you got 12 games, you kind of want to knock some spots out off the jump. So it's a great starting point. And we have them for all sports. I know that you do a great job with the UFC one. I use that every week. And yeah, just a huge sports week in general. Excited for the PGA Championship that starts tomorrow. Going to do my lineups after the show, actually. So pumped up.
Yeah, absolutely. Big. We had premium show. We had multiple free shows for the PGA Championship. Steve did a great job on the playbook, so check that out. That is up. I do one for UFC. Snyder does one for golf with AP. NASCAR, Coop is on there. Every single sport, we have a playbook over here. Mangone, Steve's not the only one with some content up already. You're on a single entry, 3-entry max thing. You do for baseball, basketball, college football, a lot of sports as well. I saw you have a good amount of that already up on that site. Explain that to the people a little bit. Talk about this little 7-game slate.
Yeah, I don't look at your UFC playbook title, but when I play UFC, I look at your playbook, right? That's I just don't play ever, right? That's the joke there. But who knows? But when I will say, when I do, the first thing I go to the inside the distance odds. I'm like, give me all that information in one place. Let me dive in. Let me start figuring out how to narrow down the pool, and then I dive deeper at each card. But yeah, single entry 3 max stuff. Yeah, it's so funny actually. I actually put up some of my pitching, and then I kind of looked at Steve's stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm not that crazy. I'm excited to talk with him on the show. I was excited to talk with DC, but I was like, Steve's fine too. I'll talk with him about it. We'll really break it down. But yeah, I have a pitching pool. After the pitching pool, I have a batter break, not a batter break. That's like a stack breakdown. It's basically like the 4 to 5 offenses that I'm looking at. I'll kind of say, hey, they're either going to be mini stacks or main stacks. I'll kind of try and identify that for you. And I have a breakdown where I talk about how I'm handling the entire slate. I feel like when you build your lineups, like one talking point that we'll get to, and this will be a nice lead in, but like my priority every day, it's like, what's my priority? Is it SP1? Is it my pitchers? Is it my stacks? My priority today is Spencer Strider. Like, he is the priority. I'm even prioritizing him over the bats. That's how important I think he is to this slate. So I kind of do a little bit of breakdown where I talk about that. I discuss the fades, and I got away with the Coors fade the past 2 days. It's been pretty good. So, and I got to avoid Coors for this slate. So you know me, title. I'm not huge on playing Coors. I like these other slates. I just had more success without it. But fading Coors has been profitable the last 2 days for me at least. And yeah, I do a little breakdown. I put my Coors, and I don't put it. K Phallic. His home is in my Coors page. It was nice and lonely over there, Steve said today for the morning slate. But if you want K Phallic's core, he always posts it there.
Absolutely.
Well, Mangone, it was a good slate to not play if you usually fade Coors, because Coors is going nuts right now.
I put one entry in. I was like at the gym, and I was like, yeah, I'll throw one in. But I was with a buddy lifting. I knew it'd be a while, and I was like, I just don't need to race home to play a Coors slate. I'll say that.
Yeah, absolutely. Coors Field, it's been done a little bit, like you said, though. We do not have to worry about it. Spencer Strider is the talking point on the slate. Before we get to the slate, though, we will talk. I got to shout out some people in the YouTube chat. We have K Fleek Burners in here as always, P. Lally, Riley Golf Pro, Memphis in here, Stevers is in here, Trevor Bryan, a couple people talking. Trevor, glad to play of the day. Walker came through. The Diamondbacks came through. Someone said the Dodgers let them down. Still cashed a bit, though. Yesterday was a pretty solid night. Bill Miner's in here as well. JSU chirping man going about UFC, things we love to see. Uncle T, Freeman Golf Show tonight. Myself, Big T, Drew, myself, meaning that is Uncle T, of course, talking some golf tonight. So make sure to check out that show. That is a premium product. Mangone 15 will get you 15% off. Stoner's talking wake and bake DFS baseball. Man, if you already woke up at 4:52 in the afternoon on the East Coast, you are living a good life there, Stoner, as your name does indicate. So waking up, talking in the Casativa. Good to see you.
Is it COVID again? Because I remember waking up at that hour. It was great. I'd hop on some NBA 2K. I'd start getting ready for the League of Legends and KBO slates, and then I'd go to sleep at 8 a.m.
No, I was with you. I was playing poker, 60-plus hours, League of Legends streets, watching that. It was not a healthy lifestyle, but I don't know if I ever woke up at 4:52 in the afternoon. But Stever's in here, like I said. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. All we do ask from you is the like button. When you do hit that like button, big red subscribe button next to it as well. Helps us out a ton. Hope everybody out there having a great Wednesday so far. But we'll dive into the slate. We'll start at pitching. Steve, you were on the playbook, so we will start with you at pitching. We talked about it, Spencer Strider. He's expensive, $12K, but finally – DK doing it right. I mean, man, a 9.5K prop, pretty much a coin flip there, but not every day you see that. Strider's been so good this year. And also what stands out, Corbin Burns all the way down to 8.6K. Screw the Brewers, the arbitration. I think that's a big thing going on with Burns right now. Nicklin and Diamond, your best player when you're lucky to even have a pitcher like him. So what are we doing, Corbin Burns? What are we doing, Spencer Strider? I'll say 8K and above, Steve.
Yeah, so I'll start with Strider. Just been awesome. Best pitcher in baseball this year with DeGrom hurt. He's basically the new DeGrom, right? You can kind of pencil him in for 8+ Ks. He's got 10+ in 3 of his last 4, 40% strikeout rate. He's just so much better than anyone else, not only on this slate, but in baseball. And he's fully stretched, right? A lot of times we have these guys that go deep with that much strikeout upside, like a Yu Darvish or something like that, or guys who have K upside, but they're not a guy who's going to go 100+ pitches. He's gone over 100 in 3 of his last 4. Tough matchups too. He just dominated Baltimore and then at Toronto. So I'm pretty sure I've locked Strider in my 20 lineups in every start this season. Debating doing it here. It is a strong pitching slate, though. So, and not a completely clean matchup. The Rangers have been good, especially against right-handed pitching. But we do have the roof is closed in Texas, and they've not been as good lately. They've cooled off a bit against righties. Third highest strikeout rate, kind of middle of the pack in the advanced metrics after the hot start to the year. He's an awesome play. We have a huge projection on him on the site from Captain. I think the debate isn't if you're playing him or not. It's how much of him you're playing. He's obviously going to be popular, but, I'm debating locking him in my 20 lineups personally.
Yeah, I like it. Talk about some other pitchers above 8K. Look at like Corbin Burns. I think he's going to get a good amount of ownership. Senga. Right there is Chris Bassett. You said it is the loaded pitching slate. Talk about some other guys and you're playing on 8K and above range.
Yeah, so I'll talk about Burns first. Interesting spot. The price dip is kind of odd, because he was struggling a bit early this season, has kind of figured it out over his last few starts. He's been good. The swing strike rate's gone up lately. Price is really good. I think he's going to be super popular as he should be at that price. But I'll give some reasons of doubt here. After struggling for basically all of April, Cardinals are red hot right now, hottest offense in baseball. We have a handedness chart on the Run Pure site that is a good starting point as well for, how teams match up with a certain handedness of a pitcher. And on the season, if you look at the Cardinals, they have the 25th highest strikeout rate against right-handed pitching. So bottom 5 K rate, and they're 5th in a bunch of the offensive metrics that we look at. And then over the last 14 days, they are best in baseball in both weighted runs created plus and ISO against right-handed pitching. So you do get the discount, but you're also playing him into a super hot offense at high ownership. So I think it's an interesting spot here to fade him if you're also playing Strider, because I think that's going to be the overwhelmingly popular duo in tournaments. We do see Burns with a 5.5 K prop. His is usually higher than that. That gives me a bit of pause. I know Captain's projection on him is a little bit lagging from the industry, and Captain's projections have been really good. So it's an interesting spot. I'll probably be underweight on him just because this Cardinals offense is just so hot and cold, and I believe that they're in a good spot right now. And I think that there are other interesting options on the slate. I think Garrett Cole is the first place that I'm going to look. It's odd calling Garrett Cole an SP2, but I think the double spend on this slate is really interesting. So Cole's a guy who, the first month or so we saw 50+% owned basically every outing. I haven't played him the last few because he's been against the Rays, back to back. Basically the toughest matchup that you can have as a right-handed pitcher is against the Rays. Struggled in both of those starts, but man, this is an interesting spot for Cole. This Yankees Toronto series has been full of fireworks already with the Aaron Judge controversy. We get Herman getting tossed from the game last night for the sticky substance. Both teams are calling each other cheaters. They're in the same division. This just feels like a spot for Garrett Cole to shove for me, coming off a couple of lagging outings. Maybe the ownership is down because people see that in the box scores. They've basically used their bullpen like crazy the last 2 nights. If Cole is on, I think this is like a complete game type of spot for Cole. And we'll talk about stacks. There aren't that many great spots, and there aren't that many high totals. So if you're comfortable playing a middling offense in a decent spot with cheap bats, I think playing Strider and Cole is really, really interesting on this slate. That's the way that I'm probably going to go on my main team, which is odd to say because I rarely play Garrett Cole. But I just have a feeling that this is a Cole spot. He does get amped up for these types of spots, and being called a cheater and big division rivalry, I think this is one of those spots for him. So my preferred duo is Strider Cole. I think the optimal is probably Strider Burns, and that's the way most people will go. But those are my favorite 3 above 8K. I feel like I'm talking a lot, so just
you're good. Yeah, no, that's a great breakdown. And like you said, Garrett Cole, I mean, open up the show or open up the season, he was SP1 in most people's books, and he was chalk many stars. Now he's still very expensive at 11.5, but everyone's going to go Strider. I mean, the projection difference is crazy from the two. And if you play in both, you're locking up a lot of money at your pitcher position. Only 7 games today. The last 2 days, we've had a very big slate, so a plethora of bats that you could feel good about. Good spots. Now 7 games, and pretty good pitching, so not necessarily the same stuff. Cole Strider definitely going to be different, and if they both go off, you can always find cheap bats. So I definitely like that. Then going to talk a little bit about 8K and above. You mentioned probably just locking Strider, but hey, you got to play 2 pitchers on DraftKings. So you're doing 8K and above.
Yeah, a lot of when I talk about my 3-match strategy, I look for normally a pitching fade that I think is going to gain some ownership, and it might be Burns today. It's something I'm considering. But I know Strider's like a lock button guy for me. I mean, Jake said it in the chat. He said, what about Bayo and Fleming build? Here's the problem with that. What are you paying for? Like, what bats are you wanting to pay up for? Sure, no one's going to complain to have Yordan Alvarez in the line, but it just doesn't seem like a slate where going down that cheap makes sense. I think grabbing Strider makes a ton of sense. And I do like the idea that Steve says with grabbing Garrett Cole. I think it's a good idea. Uncle T said it in the chat too. No Vladimir Guerrero in the Blue Jays lineup. That's going to help too. He got hurt yesterday and left the game. So that's encouraging. And then these other guys that I want to consider spending up on, like it just feels like they have some blemishes on them, right? Like Nathan Eovaldi, like do we really want to attack Atlanta? Like I'm not dying to. I know Steve has brought up great points. I read it in the playbook too. There's good points that were brought up, but for me, I might just shy away from Eovaldi just because I know it's Atlanta and kind of call it a day and go to Garrett Cole instead. Senga, like here's been one of my rules. Like why am I attacking the Tampa Bay Rays? Like, it just makes no sense. Like, it's like I saw Garrett Cole one day was popping. I saw Verlander was popping up the other day against Tampa Bay. I was like, what are we doing? I'm not doing that. I just X'd him immediately. So I'm definitely going to go and X out Senga. Nothing wrong with him. I mean, I get it, but it's the Rays. If the Rays end up getting 0 runs today, I'll take my L and move on to tomorrow. I just don't see myself going to Senga. Corbin Burns, we know he has been frustrating, but we get a price discount at 8.6K. He is someone that I'm considering putting that X on. I don't know yet because, hey, I gotta play some pitchers, right? And some of these that we're gonna get down here are not the most comfortable options, but and I'm not just gonna play like 100% Strider and Cole. So Burns, I'm still kind of indecisive on, but I really feel strong about Strider. It's just gonna be a lock button play on most teams, and then I am gonna play Garrett Cole and Strider together on a lot of them, like. And if I'm not getting it in the, like, let's say in the optimizer, you go through, you run everything, you're not getting Cole. Well, I'll bump Cole up, right? I'll bump him up. I'm not going to bump him 10 points, right? That's egregious. But if I bump him up, 5 points and I'm still not getting that much, maybe there's a reason for, how everything is set up. So I'm going to bump him up a little bit though, to ensure that I get him onto my lineup. So 8K and above, that's kind of how I'm handling it. Strider 1, it's Cole 2, and then it's like a distance 3 for Corbin Burns. But yeah, I'm so torn on what to do with him for sure because he's definitely hasn't looked at once this year.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And there are other options that you can go. I mean, he's going to be popular. There's no doubt about it. And there's other guys that have the same ceiling. Steve, you're about to say
he's the guy that I'm going to limit, right? Like if I run everything and I decide to play him, I'm going to put a cap on how to handle him. Like I kind of regret last night, like an NBA showdown. Like, and I'm still kind of getting new to MME stuff and all these different sports. I've been more single entry 3-max, but trying to get better at MME. I'm spending a lot of the summer trying to do that as well. And like Aaron Gordon was someone I just wanted to X from my pool, but I said, you know what? It's pushing him a lot. Let me at least cap it a little bit. And, sometimes capping it's not bad because sometimes you want to trust what the opto is doing, but you also want to trust your own takes too. So it's kind of a tough balance to figure out. But that's for me. If I run the opto and I see that I'm getting like 80% Corbin Burns, I'm just not doing that. Like I'm going to cap it on my own or I'm going to X him from my pool.
Absolutely. We also got the legend Hofbro in chat. What's going on, Hofbro? It's nice meeting you at the live final. And man, this guy can throw back fireball shots like no other. I will just say that. Plenty of fireball shots were going down, but always good to see you. One of the best guys out there in the DFS street. Shout out to you, Hofbro. Yeah, Steve, you're about to say something, but take us below 8K and below too, because there's multiple options. Liberatore, we like lefties against the Brewers. He has a solid K prop. Chris Bassett, all the way down to 7-4. JP France. People were talking about last show. I see some people talking about Brian Bello. There's a lot of options, I think, below 8K as well, but above 8K is loaded too. So you say mainly Strider Cole builds. So I assume you're not getting down here too much, but I break down some of these guys.
Yeah, echo what you said about Hoff too. He crushes every sport.
Yeah.
I'll make a quick note on Eovaldi just before I go below 8K. Man, what a run this guy's on. So I just remember the first month of the season, I would write playbooks, and I'm like, everything under the hood looks awesome here. He's just been super unlucky. This is going to turn around at some point. I didn't think it was going to turn around like this. He's got 9 innings. So it's what, 9, 17, like 26 straight scoreless innings coming off a 12 strikeout performance at Oakland, 40 plus in 2 of his last 3. I will say, he's on a great run. He's clearly fully stretched. If you want like a lower owned guy, like I'll probably play some of him in 20 just because it's a smaller slate, it's a smaller slate. And the Braves are worse against right-handed pitching. Like they absolutely crush lefties, but they've been bottom 10 this year against right-handed pitching. So if you are going to attack the Braves, it is with the right-handed pitchers. They do strike out a little more against them as well. So I don't mind Eovaldi if you're trying to get different. And then under 8K, interesting slate here because I think the guy that's going to be popular under 8K is Chris Bassett, coming off a couple really good outings against Atlanta and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, as we know, has just been in complete free fall for the last couple weeks. Prior to those two starts, he was really struggling. He's struggled all season to throw strikes. He's got 4+ walks in several starts. This is a patient Yankees team. I think the guy under 8K that I'm avoiding, who's going to be popular, is Bassett. I actually like, and we'll talk about later, some Yankees bats here. But as a pivot to him, I like Liberator that you mentioned for the Cardinals. Every single time the Brewers are facing a lefty, I've played much worse lefties this season against the Brewers than this kid. He was a prize prospect that they got in a trade a few seasons ago. Struggled a bit in the majors last year in his first time through. He's been really good at AAA this year. Strikeout rate over 30%. Looks good. We saw Montgomery shove last night. I think he was on the optimal, basically same exact spot here. The Brewers' highest strikeout rate in baseball against lefties, dead last in weighted runs created plus. Them against lefties is basically like the Royals or the Nats. So I'm interested in any lefty against the Brewers, especially one with the arm talent that Liberator has. I bet his K prop over this morning. Love him. And then the last guy in the pool who you mentioned, Brian Bayo at 5'7", just super cheap for a guy as talented as him. We tried to make him work right when he got called up last year in a bunch of starts. Just kind of wasn't ready and was also a bit unlucky. Some batted ball luck. But he's been good the last couple starts after a rough, he was kind of just thrust into the rotation at first because they had a bunch of injuries. Seems like he's kind of settled down here. Couple good starts in a row. And man, he's cheap. He's at 5'7". He just pitched well against both Toronto and the Braves. We played a bunch of Fenway early this week, but it's really cooled off. It's in the low 50s there today. So just a much different situation. Seattle has some power, especially from the left side, but they, much like Milwaukee against lefties, they have the highest strikeout rate in baseball against right-handed pitching. So, Bayo isn't a guy who's going 6-7 innings, but I think that we could get a ceiling strikeout performance from him in good pitching weather, although it's not the most comfortable click. And like Mangone said earlier, I'm not sure if we need to go down this cheap with the slate of bats that we have. But if you were, he is by far my favorite cheap guy. He almost has the same strikeout prop as Corbin Burns, just to give you some context. So
crazy.
I love the upside. Clearly he could get bombed, but it's a talented arm in a good strikeout matchup. So boom bust, obviously, but when you're playing a pitcher for 5'7", I like the upside there.
Yeah, and you look at extreme pitchers umpire too for Bayo, which is always nice. Yeah, 5.7K, it does open a lot up. Do you need it though? That is the question. Smaller slate though, 7 games. He's going to get a little ownership. Don't think it'll be anything crazy though. It'll be probably 10%, something like that. Mangone, I'll go to you, man. Like JP France, Liberator, Chris Bassett, Mike Clevenger, we haven't really talked about with the decent K prop. Bayo, are you? First of all, I guess I'll say, are you going to make sure that you do not have 2 pitchers below 8K? Are you going to make sure it's Strider or Garrett Cole? Are you going to make a rule like that? And then what do you like below 8K? Because I think there's multiple options, but nothing just stands out that this is the guy in the range. What about you?
No, I think so going back to Steve's Evaldi point, I could see you getting on an Evaldi if you haven't projected over some of these cheap guys and salary just lands you on them, right? I don't think that's the worst idea if you're going for cheaper bats, but some people might not be, right? And if you need some cheaper pitchers, I think all these guys at the top, they're technically better than these cheap options, but if you want some expensive bats, the drop-off is not that bad, right? It's just from a value perspective, you can make a pretty good argument for some of these options. We'll start with JP France. I think JP France is a really, really good option here. I know he's got the glasses and the mustache. So first of all, you got to have some confidence to be able to walk out there with that on. So let's give him credit for that at least. But I'm sure Big T would say that's bad clothing or something. But for me, if you can walk out with that, that's confidence right there. Dude's gonna strike out the side. So I like him though against Chicago. I mean, 5.5 strikeout prop, not bad. Not really that scared of this Cubs team. I think JP France is certainly in the conversation. Livator is the guy I was kind of cringing at. I do not know what to do with him because it is the classic spot, right? Like lefties against Brewers. Like it's perfect. We love lefties against the Brewers. It's absolutely perfect. My concern is I remember this guy wasn't that good. Like he just wasn't. Now it's one of those things. This is where I know DC really dives super deep into pitching stuff to the point where it's like, we like to make fun of him for it, but that's why we have him. He's really good at that stuff. I'll be looking at his player pool, right, to see, hey, is he on Livator? I know Steve sounds like he likes him here in this spot. I'm going to take the chance. I will ask you, Steve, before I go into the other pitchers, like, do you think he's like now actually good? Like some of these guys just get called up too early. Do you think that was his problem, or are we just picking on it because it's the matchup and hoping for the best?
I think it's a mix of both, right? Like he was good before he was called up last year, but not as good as he has been this season. I mean, he's clearly a talented arm. He was a top prospect. They targeted him in a trade. The AAA numbers this time through are much better than they were last year. The strikeouts are up, the walks are down. He's getting more ground balls, and yeah, I mean, sometimes the young pitchers need to come up, fail. I mean, not everyone's going to be a Spencer Strider who steps in and is a top 20 pitcher in baseball from start number one. Do I think he's an ace? No, but I think he's, a middle of a rotation guy with strikeout upside against a team that can't hit lefties. So, yeah. And I think he's a good pivot to Bassett, who I think is going to be pretty owned on the slate. So yeah, that's the argument. Is he safe? No. Am I playing him on my main lineup? No, but I am playing him in my pool of 20.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these young pitchers, right? Like they haven't failed, and then like they finally fail, and then they start to learn from it. You learn a ton from failure, right? So we'll see how he bounces back. It's the perfect matchup to take the risk. I'm gonna have him in my pool. I'll try to get shares of him for sure. Chris Bassett's the next one up. Obviously, this Yankees lineup isn't like it's not an amazing lineup, right? This Yankees team this year, it's not loaded like it's been in the past. I think we can play Bassett in this spot. They do have Aaron Judge back in the lineup. It does look a little bit better than it looked at the start of the year, but I mean, Chris Bassett just absolutely mowed down Atlanta recently, right? Like it's just I can't ignore Chris Bassett. He's definitely going to be in the pool too. I saw Clevenger pop up a little bit. I think it's more so how bad Cleveland is, but I'm not going to take that chance. I think there's enough pitchers where I could pass on someone like a Clevenger. I don't need to take the chance on that at 6.5K. The guy I will take a chance on is Bayo that you talked about, Steve. I think he's worth taking a chance on at 5.7K. Again, he's not someone that I'm going to lock button or anything crazy like that. You might not even see him in my cores because I just don't know if I need all those expensive bats today, but I'm going to have him projected in there, and I'm going to get some shares, right? And it's not going to take me that much, I think, to get overweight on him. I'm not super worried about it, but that's kind of the list for me. I might put JP France number 1 of the 8K and below pitchers, and then I'd probably put Bayo 2 and then Livator 3. And I like them all, though. I really do feel confident. I actually probably should put Chris Bassett before, probably Bayo and him. So it'd probably be France, Bassett, Bayo, and then Livator, but that's kind of how I'm ranking out this like 8K and below pool. I want to get different shares of them, right? I want to be overweight on my Strider shares. That way, hopefully I hit one of these combinations that's pretty good with a condensed set of offenses. So that's how I'm handling this slate, and that's kind of how I rank these pitchers.
So throw those 8K rankings with the 10K range. I'm going to go to Steve after. I'll say top 4 since we have a lot of pitching. Strider does not count, though. Strider's obviously 1. Throw those 10K in part of your rankings.
Yeah, I'd probably go, and the way I'm ranking it is like, it's not just raw points, right? It's kind of like a raw.
No, it's kind of like how if you had 20 lineups, what's your most? It's not even have to be point per dollar. It's just what do you like the most that'll be appearing on your team?
Title's in my DraftKings account. I have 20 lineups. So
well, look at that.
You got to go check the password right now. But Strider number 1 for sure.
Strider doesn't count because I know.
Oh, he doesn't count. Okay. Strider doesn't count. We'll go with Garrett Cole 1. I'm going to go with JP France 2. I'm going to go with Bassett 3, and let's go with Libator 4. I know I've kind of waffled on a little bit, but I just don't know if I'm going to need to go all the way down the middle. I like him today, but I just don't think I'm going to need to go all the way down there.
Yeah, and I said 4 without Strider. Like, you might only play 3 pitchers in that, but I went 4. Steve, you like Strider number 1, so give me 4 after that.
Yeah, by far my second favorite pitcher here is Garrett Cole. I really hope that people are scared off of the 2 Rays starts. I'd basically just throw out right-handed pitching starts against the Rays. I don't think I've played a righty against the Rays all season. So I'll go Cole, Eovaldi, Burns. It's basically in order. Cole, Eovaldi, Burns, Liberator, Bayo. I'll have all 6 in my pool. The decision is going to be locking Strider or not, because I do like these other pitchers a good bit. I do have a rule of only 1 Bayo or Liberator in each lineup, because I just don't think that we need the expensive bats on this slate.
Yeah, by the way, I'm Xing Corbin Burns. Like, I feel confident I can just like get away with it, I guess you could say. So if he's going to gain some ownership, I'm going to take the chance and pray.
Jacob Subs, let's run it back. Great night last night for RPS. Absolutely looking to run it back on the 7-gamer NBA showdown tonight. Golf tomorrow. Bunch of money to be made these next couple days. Head over Run Pure Sports. Use the promo code Mangone15. Gets you 15% off. You'll see his 3-entry max stuff on the site right now. Stevie Boynton's playbook. Core plays will be up there. Cash chart already up as well. We already have all the lineups for these 7 games, so shouldn't be any surprises. And looking at the totals before we go game by game, I mean, you got like Boston with a team total about 5. You got the Astros, one of the highest implied totals, but it's not like we've seen recently with multiple teams above 5 where ownership kind of spread out. It's kind of gross at hitting. There's no doubt about that. But we'll go game by game. Stephen Mangone will be able to help us out, find something maybe that I didn't see before. First game of the night, New York Yankees, Toronto Blue Jays, Garrett Cole, Chris Bassett. Steve, I'll start with you because you hinted at maybe picking on a little Steve or Chris Bassett. Yankees should be low owned. What are your thoughts on the Yanks? And I know you're not playing any Blue Jays.
Yeah, so Bassett's going to be one of my fades here. I just think it's a spot that the Yankees show up and play well, given the context of what's going on. I think Cole shoves, and I think the Yankees hit Bassett around a good bit here. Bet the Yankees money line. It's not often you get Cole at even money on the money line, so I took that. So Bassett, before these 2 starts, I mentioned it a bit on why I'm not playing him. Just really struggling with control. This is the Yankees haven't been great hitting, but they have always been a patient team. So he's going to walk some guys, and I think on a slate like this, if you get a couple walks and a bomb, I think it's going to be a lower scoring slate with the bats. So I'll take a chance on the Yankees lineup that's woken up a bit. We really liked them on Monday. They came through for us on Monday. Last night they had to face Gausman, obviously a really tough matchup there. But overall, they're waking up a bit. They don't strike out at all. Dead last 14 days in strikeout rate against righties. Top 6 in both weighted runs created plus and ISO. I like playing the Yankees when no one's on them, and I think this is a spot to do it. You do get the leverage with people who are going to be on the opposing pitcher. It's kind of chilly everywhere, so this is a better hitting spot than most on the slate. And if you look at their lineup, what also got me on it is super cheap outside of Judge. So with me wanting to play Strider and Cole, you've got Jake Bauers is hitting 5th. He's 2K. Harrison Bader 3.8. So like the 5 through 9 here, the most expensive guy is 3,800, and everyone else is under 2,500. So you can 5-man this team really easily if you can play Judge for the cheapies. So I just like the way that in the context of this slate, the Yankees kind of fit with what I think is going to happen. And it just happens that they've got a cheap lineup that helps me play the 2 stud pitchers.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, Bassett's going to get some ownership, guaranteed ninth inning at bat. It's cold across the country on most of these games. I mean, it's the warmest. St. Louis I'm seeing about 75. Get it indoor here. I like it. I mean, I like it for sure. Low-owned team. Yankees are not going to be played. Astros going to be played a little bit. Boston going to be played a little bit. Seattle's going to be played a little bit. Teams that have a 4.5 to 5 total will be the chalk of the slate. And, yeah, I mean, a little lower is the Yankees. Yeah. I like it, Steve. I like it.
On the season, he's got the third worst expected ERA on the whole slate. So, I know JT Hayes is big on fading guys who aren't that good coming off of like career outings. This is that exact spot. So wouldn't be surprised to see JT on the Yankees here too.
Mangone, any Yankees for you? I don't think you're gonna be on the Blue Jays, but if so, let me know.
No, I don't see myself on either of these offenses. I understand the Yankees one, right? The Yankees one is kind of simple. It's like you're targeting a pitcher that's kind of chalkier, that's cheap on like a shorter slate. Like I understand it, and they've also been hitting the ball a lot better. I don't see myself doing it. I just see myself going to some of these other offenses. So I think for the most part, I'm passing on this game. Listen, if I have the money to get Aaron Judge as like a one-off, right? Yeah, I'm interested, but that's kind of it.
Let's do it. Next game on the slate. Again, we do appreciate all we ask from you on this show. We're here 7 days a week giving you free content. All we ask from you is the like button and the big red subscribe button. It's hurtful right now. 80 likes, only 300 watching. I get it. People like listening. They don't, maybe it's hard they can't find the like button on their phone. They're driving. They don't want to look at their phone, something like that. Hey, don't beat the texting and driving. Look at your phone and driving. But if you're on the computer, if you're at a stop sign, it takes 1 second. Hit that like button. We always do appreciate here. Helps us bring you free content every single day. If you do want to be a member for the premium shows, Up to Lock show today, you do have to be a member. Like I said, head over to Run Pure Sports. Mangone 15% off. SaberSim is also included in that promo as well if you want to get 15% off your first month as well. Very good optimizer they have that we partner with. Keeping it rolling, Mangone. Do you have any interest in the Seattle Mariners, in the Boston Red Sox? Marco Gonzalez, Brian Bayo on the mound. It's cold in Fenway, as Steve mentioned, not like the past couple days. 50 degrees, but a 9.5 total. Two teams that I think will be, like I said, there's not just one clear chalk team, but I think these two will have some of the highest ownership when it comes to stacks. What do you think, Mango?
Yeah, I'm definitely not scared of Marco Gonzalez. I will say that. I do think Marco Gonzalez is worth targeting. I liked Boston a little yesterday, and I ended up kind of moving off them more than I was hoping I would. But, yeah, I think that Boston's in play. I'm going to take some stabs on him because, again, Marco Gonzalez isn't that good. I know it's a little colder, right? I typically like the warmer spots. That's kind of why I've been on Seattle and Boston the past couple of days a bit because just those games were really good game environments, and I wasn't excited about the pitching that much. But, yeah, I think it's worth taking stabs on this Boston Red Sox offense. How would I handle them? For one, I think they're great as mini stacks. I think they're fine as full-on stacks too, right? It's a pretty loaded lineup, right? They got Devers, they got Yoshida, perfectly fine with them. Kike Hernandez against a lefty. I mean, he's built different, right? Against a lefty, that man is a monster. So I'm in. I like Kike Hernandez as a low-owned play that people might not go to. They got the Rob Refsnyder in the 3-hole. I'm not saying I love that they have him in the 3-hole, but hey, they got him in the 3-hole because they like him in the platoon advantage. Justin Turner, Verdugo. I mean, that 1 through 6 is pretty solid. Duran's also been great. I know it's lefty, but he's been dialed in. So I don't think that's a bad idea. And like, I think overall, you can't hate this Red Sox team. I mean, Connor Wong's a cheap punt. Like overall, up and down 1 through 9, this Red Sox team is certainly in play. Against Bayo, one guy I would not sleep on is I wouldn't sleep on Jared Kalenic, right? That dude's been a monster. He's been absolutely crushing it all year long. I'm interested in him as like a one-off option, but I don't think I'm loading the boat on Seattle today. If I organically get him, I know I'm kind of still tinkering with some stuff. If I organically get a little bit, I don't hate it because I do think they are going to come in lower owned, but there's other offenses I prefer to them. I think Boston is way better than them today.
What are your thoughts on this one, Steve?
Yeah, interesting spot. This is the spot that I'm not going to have as much of that I'm concerned that I don't. you know, you can't play everything. I do like the Boston side more. We'll note that Marco isn't like lights out against the lefties or anything. He actually has a lower strikeout rate against lefties and righties. So don't be afraid to play the lefties and the Red Sox. They've been good both ways. This Red Sox lineup against righties is just terrifying. Against lefties, they're not because all of their best hitters like Devers, Yoshida, Verdugo, Duran, guys like that are all lefties. But if they hit Gonzalez early, this could be a great stack here. We saw Justin Turner finally hit a home run last night off of Castillo. That was funny. Ref Snyder's been really good against lefties, and he's cheap. The bottom of the order is cheap. I was saying that about the Yankees here. They've got Pablo Reyes starting for Boston. He is, 2,200. Wong, Duran, Kike, Ref Snyder. These guys are all cheap. And then if you like the cheaper pitchers, you can stack up the lefties, Verdugo, Devers, Yoshida. I think that'll be pretty low owned. And those guys do hit lefties. So I prefer the Red Sox side. I am playing some Bayo, but would anyone be surprised if he has a blow up outing against a team that does have power? No. The Mariners are the team that I'm fading, that I'm most scared to fade, honestly, on the slate, just because of their raw power in the lineup. Julio, Kelnick, Suarez, Cal Raleigh, Teoscar. We even saw Trammell hit a bomb last night. So wouldn't fault anyone for playing Seattle. They were actually my last cut for the stacks today.
Yeah, you can't play everyone. I will mention, Mango mentioned Rob Ref Snyder right in the 3-hole, 2.8K. Definitely going to be very popular. He's fits under the boat of, I think, probably the worst one-off, at least one of the worst one-offs on the slate. Chalky one-offs, if you're not stacking them. People are going to be on Boston anyway. If Ref Snyder gets there, I'm assuming multiple people in the Boston lineup will also have a good game. And Ref Snyder, his one-off that'll get you 18 points, even if he does that, still probably won't matter as much at Boston, who will be pretty chalky, just goes off anyway. And he's a part of stacks that are already doing very well. So I hope that makes sense. I just hate playing chalky one-offs from chalkier teams. Low-owned one-offs is when they double dong, no one else has them but you. That's how you move up leaderboard instead of 30% moving up with you. We'll keep it rolling, though. That is Seattle and Boston. One of the chalkiest games, one of the highest totals on the slate. I think 9.5. Yeah, 9.5 is the highest total on the slate. Steve mentioned earlier, but do think we see some lower scores winning GPPs today due to the hitting. But we'll keep it rolling. Tampa Bay Rays, New York Mets, Josh Fleming, Kodai Senga on the mound. Senga, of course, all the upside in the world, very nasty stuff. But these Rays, Steve, do you just play them against everyone? They're going to be low on again, a 7-game slate where hitting's pretty tough. Do you just keep playing, keep riding the hot streak? Talk about the Rays, talk about the Mets.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I like that.
I've played the Rays more than any team this season. They hit all hands, and they're not pinch hitting as much as they have in the past. They've kind of let their guy. It's kind of easier to let guys have their roles when they're just smashing everyone, right? But so the thing with Senga, he came over with some fanfare. He hasn't been that great so far, and listen to who he's faced in his 7 starts: Miami, Oakland, San Fran, Washington, Colorado, and the Reds. So he's faced 7 shitty offenses, probably the worst 7 offenses in baseball. And now he's got to face the Rays, the best offense in baseball. I don't think that he's that great. I think this is a perfect spot to attack him. The Rays are by far my favorite stack on the slate. Their lineup is pretty cheap, outside of Wander. Let me pull it up here. I was just toying with my main lineup that had 5 Rays. Up and down, it's a great stack. Really like the back half of the lineup. Luke Raley, Taylor Walls have been smashing right-handed pitching all season. Jose Siri's got power in the 9-hole for 2,800. This is the best offense in baseball against right-handed pitching. It has been for about a month straight. So this team has the least off nights of anyone in baseball. They're super consistent. Their team totals have been rising all day. The Rays are my favorite stack here. And as the day has gone on, I've been warming up to the Mets, who, God, I hate playing the Mets. But the Rays are starting Josh Fleming, who's been really bad, doesn't miss any bats. He's got 4.8 Ks per 9 and 4 walks per 9. So he's going to put guys on base. He's not going to miss bats. And the Rays' weakness this season has actually been their bullpen. Their bullpen has not been very good. So, not as terrified of the Rays' pen as we have been in past seasons. And the Mets total has climbed about half a run in the last hour and a half or so. And on a slate without much offense, that's a big deal. The Mets called up top prospect Mark Vientos today. He's first base, third base eligible on DK, min price. And this lineup that the Mets put out outside of Alonso is really cheap, especially the back half. So if you're sensing a theme with what I'm targeting on this slate, it's cheap back half of lineups with the expensive pitchers. The Mets 5 through 9's got Pham at 2.3, Can at 2.6, Vientos 2K, and the catcher at 2.8, all in that little mini stack. You got Escobar starting at third, hitting second for 2,700. So pick a few of those, add in Lindor and Alonso, and the stack is still pretty cheap overall. So warming up to the Mets, I actually just added them to the playbook as we were doing the show. And I'm actually debating on my main lineup, just doing a game stack here, Rays full of Mets.
I love it because we're going to get to a lot of these games after. I don't have much interest in a lot of these spots. The Rays, why not ride the hot streak? Bill Miner in here saying Senga just hasn't been all that good. Love it. I love it. Mangone, do you love anything in this game?
Yeah, I don't hate the attacking Senga call. I'll say that. I'm trying to figure out who my fourth offense is going to be today because I feel pretty good about three, right? There's three that I know I'm centering around. Boston's one of them. We'll get to the other two, but maybe Tampa Bay makes that cut. I'm kind of debating. It could be Tampa, it could be Seattle, we talked about before, but there's definitely offenses that I'm looking at here, and I think Tampa Bay's fine. I mean, they're just crushing the ball against everyone, no matter what. It's absolutely absurd what's going on. I understand the Mets call by Steve. I'm just not attacking Tampa Bay at all. Like, I'm just staying away from this Tampa team for the most part. This game is also it is in New York at least. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
I hate when it's in Tampa Bay. That always tilts me so much. So
I think the Rays have like 2 or 3 losses on the season at home. They're like 20-2 or something like that.
They've been absolutely nuts. So that's why I'm definitely considering them for what's it called? For the stack, because it's just been so hot. But title, I just got distracted. I don't know if you saw the Milwaukee Bucks are looking at a college coach, Kelvin Sampson. So
that's like the 58th name I've heard from the Milwaukee Bucks and who they're looking at. So who the heck they're bringing in literally everybody in this world this season.
He's the Houston head coach for college basketball with Steve here. Maybe
Steve that guy, the Houston's coach.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we need him on the Bucks.
I don't think he's an NBA type of coach. He's like a hard ass guy, not a player's coach.
Yeah, give me a young analytical guy that.
Yeah, he's pretty old too.
Yeah, I know. That's the only reason I don't need him, but they're looking at everyone, man.
He's not leaving Houston. He has a plum gig there. They just keep winning 30 games a season. I don't know why he would leave.
Who knows? So Mangone, not maybe Rays, no Mets for you.
Yeah, no Mets, maybe Rays. They're just so hot. It's like hard to argue. Like I haven't gone through and adjusted, but like for me, when I go through, I have to really adjust my projections for them. So I'm gonna do that when I get off the show. You'll see on my single entry 3 max what my adjustment is if I have them on there.
Next game on the slate: Milwaukee Brewers, St. Louis Cardinals. Corbin Burns, Matthew Liberatore on the mound. 7.5 total. 2 teams below a total of 4. Mangone, you can say pass unless you got something in this game.
I don't know. I got distracted by the chat title because they said Sampson coached in the NBA many years. That was many years ago. Like it doesn't that was when being a hard ass coach was important. But what game are we on, title? Sorry,
you're not playing the Brewers. You're not playing the Cardinals.
Well, I might play some Cardinals. The only reason why is I keep Xing things out, which I've X'd a lot out today. Like. Here's the thing. Wilson Contreras, like he just pops up, right? Because like a catcher and like a one-off, like I am getting some Wilson Contreras, and I understand why. It's kind of like, it's hard to X out the Royals because Salvador Perez and Bobby Witt Jr. just like fit, you know what I mean? And like Bobby Witt's been too cheap all year. Sal Perez is a spend-up catcher, so point I'm getting at is I do think that Wilson Contreras is kind of in play on the Cardinals, but that's really it. I'm not diving to play too many guys in a 7.5 total.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Corbin Bird's going to get some ownership. It's only a 7-game slate. Hitting's kind of rough. Maybe go to the Cardinals, play the game theory route that way. But there's enough low-owned teams, Steve, that you've mentioned already that you do actually like. Are you passing them? What are you doing?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind playing like the Cards mini stack if you're not playing Burns like Mangone or if you're going to be under the field, but no bats here. And the guy in the chat, Samson's never been a head coach in the NBA. Don't lie in our chat, man. He was an assistant for a couple of years after Indiana. That's it.
Yeah, talking assistant. Yeah, I don't know. I just know exactly who the Houston is. Had some cheese on him the past couple of years to win it, but
yeah.
I don't know. Give me a young analytical guy for the Bucks. Who knows? Who knows what the Bucks are going to do, though? Like I said, it looks like they're hiring. They're going after everybody in the interviewing process. But we'll keep it rolling. Talking baseball. 3 games left on the slate. 333 watching, 118 likes. We do appreciate it if you do hit that like button. And also, if you want to be a member, we got the Up to Lock show coming up in 25 minutes. You want DC's pitching takes, core plays, his content. He has his own section for baseball as well. He lists pitchers, stacks, his slate overview as well. Golf premium show tonight as well. A lot of premium content behind the paywall. Mangone 15 gets you 15% off. Steve, back to you in this next one. Another 7.5 total. Atlanta Braves, Texas Rangers, 2 good pitchers. Nathan Eovaldi, Spencer Strider on the mound. I guess we always say you can play the Braves any slate, and the Braves will be pretty low on today going against Eovaldi. What are you doing in this one?
Yeah, this is the game that just doesn't fit the approach that I'm going with today, which is cheap bats. The Braves just don't have those. I'm playing both pitchers, debating locking one. So this is my first just full pass of the slate here.
Mangone.
Yeah, I'm considering Atlanta. I just think the more we talked about, I think like Seattle, Tampa, I might like a little bit more. And I think Steve's talking into just why am I attacking Eovaldi. But before the show, I was definitely considering it a little bit. So overall, no Texas and Atlanta. Yeah, I'm not seeing any Atlanta. So I think we're going to pass that and keep moving this thing along because there's a couple of offenses I want to talk about soon.
Yeah, like if Eovaldi was getting more, he is getting some ownership, I guess. You can play the Braves. If I played anyone on that game, it would definitely be the Braves side. There's no doubt I'm picking against Strider. Just like the game before, though, I would definitely play the Cardinals side over the Brewers, getting game theory-wise. But, yeah, Braves offense, I don't think you're crazy. They will be low-owned, which you cannot say that every single day about this Braves team. 2 games left. Cleveland Guardians, Chicago White Sox, Peyton Benfield, Mike Clevenger on the mound. And you said you have some interest in these next couple. We only have 2 games left. I assume one of these 2 teams is someone you like.
Yeah, I think it's time, Title. I think it's time to get back on the White Sox. I'm in. It's been a while. It's been time for a reunion. I think it's a good.
Is there a lefty on the mound? There's not. Isn't that
no
the
lefty.
first part? Isn't that the first part of your first part of your whatever you call it, the tree graph that you do as a little kid?
I can't even remember the tree graph. It's been so long. It's way too long.
Oh, they played a lefty. Okay, yes, yeah. White Sox.
The tree graph does not agree today, but I'm okay with it because the hand we've been dealt is rough. And Peyton Battenfield, I'm interested in attacking him on this slate. It just makes a lot of sense. The upside that this lineup has, they got Tim Anderson, Benintendi, Robert, Moncada, Vaughn, Sheets. I mean, this lineup's solid. I know Hanser Alberto, I won't really say solid. He'll probably hit a home run now, but yeah, I'm sure I'll have some of him anyways. It looks like I already have some as I'm looking at the runs that I made earlier. But yeah, I like the White Sox. They're going to be an offense that I get some exposure to. It's a rough slate for offense, and I just think attacking this guy is not a bad route today. So White Sox lineup is in play for me. I like the 1 through 9 up and down. I guess one reason I can make the argument for liking the 1 through 9 and liking Alberto a little is at least he crosses off second base. Because I'll tell you this, second base is gross. As I've kind of been running stuff on my side screen here, I keep getting these punt second basemen, and it's ugly the ones I'm getting. I don't want to play these guys. So second's rough. I'll consider Alberto there, as crazy as it sounds, but I like this White Sox lineup a lot. If I play him, I'm definitely going to have a lot of my boy Robert. He'll be on most of my White Sox stacks, I'm sure. Benintendi will be another option that I'll have a lot of exposure to in that outfield. So I definitely want to load up on White Sox title.
White Sox, just like the good old days. And is that what it's called? A tree graph, right? I don't know 100% about the word. Is that what it is? A tree graph? That's
tree diagram, maybe it's called.
Tree diagram.
Yeah.
Like a flow chart?
No, yeah, I made one of those where it's like, the White Sox playing today?
Oh, yeah, you like start here and then go left or right.
Yeah, it's the lines.
Yeah.
Remember it. Remember way back in the day with
I
the
haven't
kids.
tweeted it out in so long. If they were playing lefty today, I'd tweet it out, but they're not. So we're going to take a chance against the righty, though, and I think it's the perfect slate to do it.
Yeah. Zach on a rematch tomorrow, 3 dribbles. Oh, that's the guy at the gym. What's going on, man? What's going on? I'll be there. It took me a little while to process that. What's going on, man? Steve, any White Sox for you? And then what about the other side of this game? I think it's going to be pretty low. Mangone likes the Sox. Guardians, they've been pretty bad, and there is no Jose Ramirez in the lineup. But tell me if you like anything.
To Mangone's point at second base, I've got 4 guys on the playbook, and 2 of them are Rays. So.
Yeah.
It's bad. I'm telling you, like, I went through and like all my 5-2-1s, it's like Owen Miller. I'm like, Owen Miller's fine today, but I'm just like, well, I'm not playing those Brewers stacks. So I was like, I just keep all the one-offs that keep popping to my lineup are these guys on offenses I don't want. I just keep exiting.
Just play Rays. You won't have to, it won't be an issue. But no,
I need to sit and manually mess with the projections when we get off here and see what happens.
As far as this game, I'm actually with Mangone. This is the first time I think I've played the White Sox all season. I've basically just been ignoring them, pretending that they haven't existed.
It's been chilly in Chicago a lot too. It is today as well.
Pretty chilly. I'm going happy hour after this. I got the hoodie on. But Battenfield doesn't look like he's a major league pitcher, at least not yet. And the White Sox have started to wake up a bit. They got Tim Anderson back lately. They got Robert back. Luis Roberts hit a bomb in 4 straight games here, and he's still under 4K on DraftKings. Really like that price. That's like a sore thumb here. And again, this is a cheap lineup. The most expensive guy's TA at 4.8. The back half of the lineup, we got Vaughn at 3.2, Sheets 2.5, Grandal 3.7, Berger 2.8, Hanser 2.9, Benintendi's hitting second at 3K. I mentioned Robert at 3.8. Just overall, a cheap lineup against a shitty pitcher on a slate where I want to double spend a pitcher. So it just kind of fits the puzzle pieces. On a 12-game slate, I get to them. But in my 20 lineups, I'm playing for the White Sox are going to be that 4th one here.
I like it. Great breakdown. We got 1 game left on the slate. Again, we appreciate it if you do hit that like button for us. We'll get you the plays of the day. We do appreciate you all hanging out with us. And we do have a premium show coming up in 17 minutes. Head over Run Pure Sports. Get in the Discord if you do join as well. Nothing better than the community we got in the Run Pure Sports Discord. Chicago Cubs, Houston Astros, Drew Smiley, JP France on the mound. Man, it'll be nice. This 8:10 Eastern is the last starting time of this slate. Before everyone goes to bed, you'll know how you're sitting. We got an NBA game tonight as well. A lot of action going on at a good time today. Mangone, you don't have to worry about them Dodgers, those Giants. Is a late night West Coast hammer. Are you going to this game though?
No, I'm grilling some ribeyes tonight, so it's gonna be a good night.
Ooh, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good night. I'm excited for the Celtics. It feels like it's gonna be a nice coast, but Jimmy's gonna give us Jimmy's gonna make it fun at least. He'll make us sweat a little bit. But I'm excited for tonight. Baseball will be ended nice and early, and this is another game that I'm interested in. I don't know if Fallick will have the Astros stack in his core on my single entry 3 max, but there's definitely a chance he does. I know Fallick loves his Astros, and he hasn't played them all that much this year, but he started playing them a little bit more. And I know Jose Altuve could be back in the lineup Friday. I mean, once Altuve's back, this lineup's going to look a little bit better for sure. And who knows? Maybe just the announcement of he's going to be back gets the excitement rolling for this team.
Maybe those cans come out again.
The cans come out. Right?
They need them this year. They haven't been hitting for shit.
Yeah, they've had their struggles, but Drew Smiley, he's for one. We've played Drew Smiley before. We've also attacked him, right? He's one of those pitchers that the range of outcomes is wide with him. And I think there's opportunity here with this Astros team. Also worth noting, like, there's not a lot of good hitting environment spots. And when there's not a lot of good hitting spots, sometimes I like to play the controlled environment place in like Houston, right? I don't know if that roof will for sure be open. Obviously, it's a plus if it's open, but that's one thing I talk about all the time. Like Tampa Bay, for instance, like I don't like playing them, but when it's 50 degrees everywhere else in Tampa Stadium, then I'm interested more. So I think this Houston team is definitely in play. Pena, Alex Bregman, I know has not been great, but we'll try and give it a pass. I think today, Alvarez, Tucker, obviously 2 priorities. Jose Abreu, I'll ask Steve this because I was kind of tinkering with this idea. I kind of looked at my Astro stacks. I run 50 teams to kind of see what's happening, and then I make adjustments later on. I'm getting like 38% Abreu. Like, I'm getting way too much. What's your thoughts on just Xing him completely and then letting your Astro stacks do their thing? Is that the move or what?
I think Jose Abreu is rated out as the worst hitter in baseball so far this year. So, yeah, I'd be fine Xing him out. And plus, this slate has a bunch of good options at first base. Like we talked about how weak second is, but first is preloaded. So, yeah, he would definitely not be a priority. Still no bombs on the year in 171 plate appearances. So, I mean, if you've been avoiding him all season, you've been fine. I think that continues tonight.
Title, how are you handling him in cash? I'm kind of curious about that too. Just I know not everyone's a cash game guy, but I'm sure there's some listening. Like, because he's been like so interesting this year. Of like the price just keeps dipping. The name is so good, and like he's hard situation to handle. You're on mute.
I think you just play the Mets guy at first.
Thank you. I am on mute. No, I have three guys. I actually don't even have the Mets. The Mets guy on it's Justin Turner 3-4, Josh Bell at 2-8, Jose Abreu at 2-5. I mean, you can't ignore Houston has one of the highest implied totals right there. I mean, the thing is, when I have played him, and again, it hasn't been much. It has been like 11, 13. When he is in good spots, there's runners on in front of him, and you can only opportunity at 2.5K for one of the highest implied totals. He's not a lot by any means, but he is part of the three guys that I have on the cash chart.
Yeah, and it's not like you're excited about this bottom of the order. I'll say that. Like I'm not dying to play Chas McCormick. I mean, Diaz, I mean, at least he's a catcher punt, right? Which I don't mind catcher punt options. Jake Myers has been good to me. He hasn't been incredible this year, but he's kind of gotten a little better. And then you got David Hensley. Maybe it's going Hensley instead, actually, because he's got that first base eligibility and just kind of taking a chance. I did that one slate kind of maybe it was like a month ago or so. I forget when it was, but I X'd Abreu out on the slate and I got more Hensley, and I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense why I'm getting him a little bit more. So maybe that'll be what I do. But I'm doing my best to kind of try and stay away from Abreu in the stacks if I can, just because, again, the optimizer is just going to push him if you're using that. And that's where you either can adjust his projection. Maybe you put a cap on it, exit, put your own mix on it, which I don't mind putting a slight mix on things where I'm not getting too far away from some of these numbers, but also putting my own spin on it that I think is correct.
Yeah, I mean, you got to play another team. You got to play, or you can't just play one team in the Astros in full 8-man stack in your tournaments. You got to play secondary stack or one-off. So you don't need to play a first baseman a part of the Astros stack. Abreu will be popular. Can get a little different leaving him off there. Steve, you are playing expensive pitchers, so that means you probably aren't going to get to the top of this Astros order. Are you getting to the bottom of the order?
No, this is I don't have any bats here. I don't mind attacking Smiley. He's been really, like, the underlying stuff's really good for him. I'm just going to wait till Altuve's back for Houston. I will say they do have the better hitting catcher in Yainer Diaz. He hasn't hit a ton at the major league level yet, but he was known in the minors as a good stick. So 2-3 catcher, I would definitely play him over Abreu and take one of the better options at first base, because there are a bunch of good ones.
I think we're supposed to take away Steve's Kyle Tucker against a lefty card. I mean, come on, Steve. It's against a lefty. You're not even gonna give him a shout out?
I am on the free show, which I'm not on often. Yeah, play Kyle Tucker. He's the best.
There we go. Come on. You gotta give him a shout out. Big T doesn't like Kyle Tucker against a lefty. I said it to him once and he made fun of me for doing it. So yeah, that's
Steve will always approve. And now he's going to go deep.
I need him going deep.
I got to play some of them now.
I need him going deep so I can whenever Kyle Tucker hits a home run against a lefty, if I see it, I go, Big T, Kyle Tucker against lefties.
He is one of the best, like, left-on-left hitters in baseball. So
yeah.
There you go. There are the numbers. Steve Mangone, awesome breakdown, 7-game slate. Great pitching, not great hitting. I think we do see some lower GPP scores today. Let's go top 3 stacks, Mangone. Steve, I'll get you the plays of the day. Get on out of here for the premium show. Steve, top 3 stacks today.
I'm going to go Rays by far number 1 for me. Mets and White Sox are my top 3.
Mangone.
Yeah, you're getting a little bit of a different mix from us. I'll say this. It's let's go White Sox 1. We'll go Boston 2. We'll go Astros 3. So those are the 3 that I'm kind of centering my teams around for the most part.
I like it. I'll go Rays and I'll go Yankees. I like the Yankees, and Bassett, he's been bad. Steve, you said what, third worst expected ERA?
Yep.
Give me the Yankees on the road, guaranteed ninth inning at bat. We'll start with myself first with the SO play of the day. Going to go to those Yankees that I was talking about. Got to save the bank. Got to save some money, though, because I love Strider. I like some of those upper-tier pitching. Right in the heart of the order, though, it's mid-price 2K. Jake Bauers in the 5-hole. That's been bad, especially against lefties. Mid-price. Can't go wrong with little Jake Bauers in your lineup. He is the SO play of the day. Mangone, ping pong play of the day. One of the better ping pong players out there in the industry, no doubt about that. Might even be number one. Mangone, give us a winner right here.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard Steve's been playing some ping pong or something. I saw him he sent Big T a text once about something, and he said Big T replied with Mangone was what he's betting on or something. So that was a funny story that I had seen one day. But my play is Luis Robert, right? Steve, you go to the floor and say you're buddies with Luis Robert, right? That's not a man right there. Luis Robert, right? That's a man right there. So Luis Robert is gonna go yard. That is my play of the day.
Before I go to Steve, Scare Creations, I have Liberatore with 9,500 left. Is it dumb to play Burns? I would definitely upgrade something with that 9,500. You can definitely leave money in baseball. 9,500, I don't know if quite I would leave that much. I mean, you can go Liberatore to Cole or Strider, I feel like is within those parameters. But yeah, unless you're just saying, oh, you have 9,500, Liberatore, you'd leave 2,800, Burns, you'd leave 800. I assume now that I'm talking through, you mean that. I would play Burns over Liberatore, though, and upgrade there personally. Steve, what do we got for you? The last play of the day. It was supposed to be the mom's basement. What do we usually have? You're never on a free show.
I don't have a play of the day. We got to come up with something because I've been on more of the free shows this year.
Yeah, we do have to come up.
Something about drinking. I don't know. Something with
the happy hour play of the day because I'm racing right there after this.
Always in happy hour. There you go. The happy hour play of the day, and we will put DC's mug right up there. Oh, there we go. Look at the bad internet. Steve doesn't have bad internet.
What?
I don't know what's going on.
I pay out my ass for internet. It better not be bad.
No, it ain't bad. Here we go, though, Steve. What you got?
So I'll go a little different. My play of the day is going to be the combination of Strider and Cole. I'm hoping that combo is a bit lower owned than it usually would be. I think this is just a perfect slate to double spend a pitcher with no big team totals and play some of these back half of the offenses that we've talked about over the past hour.
I like it. Again, early baseball going on right now. Vinny P, Italian Nightmare, just got a home run. We got NBA tonight. We got MLB tonight. We have golf tomorrow, premium golf show. MMA this week, NASCAR this week. A bunch going on over here at Run Pure Sports. Mangone 15 gets you 15% off. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that big red subscribe button on your way out. We appreciate you guys as always. We'll be back tomorrow. Premium show, though. We got 2 shows tonight. For Stevie, for Mangone, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.